Thank you. I know that some of you were logged in nice and early. Thank you all for being patient, for being eager. We're glad to have you here. Okay, I believe that people will continue to join as we go along. I think, oh, great. We've got a good morning from Toronto. Hi, Christiane. And another representative of IGO Citizen. Thank you. I'm going to get us started already. We do have so many wonderful insights from our panelists, and I want to make sure that we have as much time as possible to hear from everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. I'm Rachel Warnick. I am the Chief Programs Officer at Professors Without Borders, and it really is our delight to host this panel with our very gracious panelists who bring a wide array of insights and experiences to share with us on this topic. So, Stacey, if I could ask you for the next slide, please. As you know already from signing up for this, we will explore how adopting a whole institution approach in higher education and TVET, or technical and vocational education and training, can lead to positive changes. Our esteemed panelists will discuss how sustainability processes and principles can be seamlessly integrated into and strengthen the academic community relationship. So we're going to touch on the theoretical, we're going to touch on the university perspective, and we're going to hear from student participants and community participants as well. And it's going to be an open and frank discussion. We're going to talk about the lows as well as the highs, the obstacles as well as the wins. So thank you for coming. Your mics are off. Please do keep them off until we get to the Q&A session at the end. We will invite you to speak at that time. But of course, you can drop questions anytime into the chat as they arise in your head, and we will address them in the Q&A section at the end. So, to kick us off, we are starting with Katrin Kohl. Now, Katrin Kohl is the Executive Coordinator at the UNESCO Chair in Reorienting Education Towards Sustainability at York University in Toronto, Canada. She is also the focal point for Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4, which is quality education, for the Higher Education and Research for Sustainable Development Global Cluster, led by the International Association of Universities. And that is a mouthful and very impressive. Currently, Katrin is completing her PhD with a focus on education for sustainable development at the International Islamic University in Malaysia, doing research on ESD's philosophical foundations while being a key enabler of all SDGs. With a background in law and management, she served in prior positions as Managing Director of the German Commission for UNESCO and as Strategic Advisor to the Vice Chancellor at the University of Düsseldorf in Germany. So I'm going to hand over to Katrin, and invite her just to give us a little more background on herself and her work. Stacey, if you could remove the slides for a moment, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. It's a pleasure to be here. Also, being the proud IAM student, I'm under supervision today. My supervisor is joining us today too as the next speaker. Yeah, it's thank you for hosting this important panel. During SDG Awareness Week, I attended a discussion yesterday in a Canadian setting, and it was quite amazing to see how many people have not even heard about the SDGs. So bringing spreading the word and bringing the discussions out there in different constellations, I still feel is a very important aspect. First of all, the idea of being even after the midway point of the SDGs. Last year in September, the Secretary General of the United Nations saw that we are only on track with our 2030 agenda and 15% of the SDGs. So between now, as we are in 2024, and until 2030, there's a lot to do, and we have to achieve the other 85% in order to be successful. And education is extremely important and is a transformational means of implementation for the SDGs. And this is exactly where my work is at the UNESCO chair, and also in collaboration with IAU, the International Association of Universities, as we aim to position sustainability as a purpose of education. And sustainability, looking at sustainability not only as protecting the environment, but also looking at the other dimensions of sustainability, aiming towards creating economies that are just and that are fair, and also creating and reducing inequalities that are in the world through education. We often hear the idea of leaders should move forward. We often listen to discussion that our leaders, our governments should move forward to better to move towards sustainability. But what it really needs is people that understand the notion, people that support sustainability and comprehend the complexities of this world. And this is what education stands for. As you say, SDG 4 stands for quality education. And we believe in education for sustainable development that goes beyond just formal education. We're learning every day in non-formal, informal settings, but education can be the key enabler of a sustainable future. And this is where my work is, in teaching and research, and most important today. And I'm actually really curious to see what the others are going to be saying in the community service and in the collaboration with the communities. And as I'm the theoretical person, I'm much more interested in hearing the practical voices. I'm going to stop right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katrin. We just have a few, Stacey, who's also she's our programs assistant at Professors Without Borders. She's going to show you some photos. We've got some photos from each of our panelists about the work that they're doing. While she's doing that, I'm going to move on and introduce our second panelist. Let me just see here. So our second panelist, I'm really, really honored to welcome Zainal Abidin Sanusi. He is currently director for the Sejahtera Center for Sustainability and Humanity at the International Islamic University of Malaysia, while also serving as an associate professor at the Department of Political Science, Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Science. Prior to this post, he served as Minister Counsel for Education at the Malaysian High Commission in London. He has also served as Deputy Director, Center for Leadership Training at Higher Education Leadership Academy of the Ministry of Education, Malaysia. A sustainability expert and enthusiast with vast leadership experience, he holds a BA in Public Policy and Management from Luton University in UK, an MA in International Relations from the International University of Japan, a PhD in International Studies from Waseda University, Japan, and a postdoctoral fellowship in sustainable development from the Institute of Advanced Studies, United Nations University, doing research on the Multilateral Environment Agreement. Excuse me. Pardon me. His area of academic specialization is governance and education for sustainable development. He has participated in many international workshops and conferences on the subject as both speaker and invited participant and discussion. In his previous posts as a deputy director at the Academy, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for one moment.
It's two long introductions.
Zainal, you're too impressive, that's why. Thank you. Okay. As I was saying, in his previous post at the Deputy Director at the Academy, Zainal had been directly involved in planning, organizing, and delivering training programs, seminars, and workshops on various, excuse me, higher education.
Sure. Thank you so much for the long introductions, which I can't recall when did I do that, and I start to doubt whether I've gone through that. I only remember the last one, the postdoctoral, because that's the most important one that give a change in my thinking and also my academic life as well. Why do I say that? Because the postdoctoral is the one that brings me closer to real life. Before that was a theoretical life during my PhD and all those theories thing. But once I get to be introduced to sustainable development in 2005, that's the time that I really get to feel and see what do I want to do. Assuming that is just the first round of introductions and what are we doing. So the center is called Sejahtera Center for Sustainability and Humanity. It's a center that was created 3 years before with specific missions of mainstreaming sustainability and humanity with a strong framework of a local concept that is called Sejahtera. So that local concept, Sejahtera, can in a way define as sustainable development in our context and what we've been doing. So with that mandate, we've been doing a lot of initiative and attempts in order to bring and to mainstream sustainability. Like any other office of sustainability and any institution that try to promote and advocate sustainability and sustainable development, we come up with a lot of activities, but definitely come with several challenges, yeah, that we'll be addressing later. But maybe at this stage, what I would like to somehow highlight is that the universities has been doing a lot of community engagement before, but what we're wondering is that to what effect, to what impact that he has been giving to the community surrounding it. Yeah. So we start to do reflections and try to think about and try to relook. That's the way that we do community engagement. That's the way that we've been engaging with the community sufficient enough in order to make them feel, to make them benefiting from the presence of university in our particular area. So I'll talk more after this, what we've been doing. The pictures that's on the screen is somehow just now is a picture of our partner as well. I know Keer will be talking about this, but just to show how we are intensifying, how we have drastically changed our approach in working with the society, is that we are making community engagement something that is integral. It's not just a secondary thing. It's not just a Saturday, Sunday thing, like what I used to say. So with that kind of introductions, I look forward to connect the dots of what Katrin has been talking about and later on Ravi and Keer. I'm not sure whether Rachel is around to pick up, or should I?
I am.
Okay,
yes,
thank you,
I am.
Rachel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping in there. As I said in the chat, I had a terrible tickle in my throat that just would not clear. So, but I'm happy now. I'm back now, and I'm delighted to introduce our next panelist, who is Ravi Ponnudurai. Ravi is a master's student in environmental studies at York University in Toronto, Canada, and he is a founding member of IGO Citizen, a budding organization created by an interdisciplinary group of alumni from Canada and the Philippines, working together to mainstream global citizenship education in school curricula. Ravi traveled to Sri Lanka in September 2022 as a member of IGO Citizen, where he and teammates collaborated with a nonprofit in Jaffna, Sri Lanka, having created and implemented their passion project made possible through the pilot program Go Global SDGs in Action, Student Challenge 2022, which was organized by York International and funded by the Government of Canada's Outbound Student Mobility Program. Ravi, I would like to turn straight over to you to allow you to go a little deeper yourself. And we've already seen your amazing photos from the project. Oh, we've got them back up again, so please go ahead.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I guess I just want to give some how we formed the ICO-Citizen from start to and what we did. That will give you a good picture of what we are doing as an ICO-Citizen. So ICO-Citizen formed as a group of passionate students participating in the Go Global Sustainable Development Goals in the Action Student Challenge pilot program organized by York University. The SDG initiative allows students to enhance their global learning and competencies. As a part of the whole institution approach, York University created this award program, connecting interested students internationally and mentors from different parts of the world, guiding and mentoring participants to integrate and move forward to the SDGs. Our multidisciplinary group from York University and the University of Philippines chose SDG 4, striving for quality education for all, based on our responses from the top SDGs of interest survey. Our team further focused on SDG 4.7, education for sustainable development and global citizenship. When the SDG program wrapped up in March 2022, our group was awarded the Creative Solution Award for our pilot project proposal on discourse and curriculum analysis on global citizenship education in Sri Lanka and the Philippines, demonstrating the most effective way to mobilize the SDGs using research to action program methodology. After receiving the award, we wanted to continue at this. We started to explore the opportunity to implement our workshop in Sri Lanka and the Philippines. We connected with several academics and non-profit leaders from Sri Lankan Tamil community in Canada, and through them, we connected with Global Vision Empowerment Sri Lanka. We partnered with Visions and later hosted a 5-day GCED focused workshop at the Department of Philosophy at the University of Jaffna in Sri Lanka and online. A few members of our team connected from the Philippines and Canada while I was in person. As holistic learning participants were exposed to a wide range of sustainability-related topics in our workshop within the SDG framework, and we collaborated with different stakeholders and community leaders during the implementation of our workshop. As I end here, I want to highlight few limitations we had. Resource limitation. The implementing a whole institution approach is resource intensive, requiring a significant investment in time, money, and personnel. Resistant to change, we could not reach more faculty members and diverse students during the implementation of our workshops, which led to a lack of participation from other faculties. We are not able to measure the impact of our workshop since there was a lack of follow-up engagement. Lack of awareness of SDG among the institutional administration, teaching staff, the student community, and the governing authorities. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ravi. Great to hear from you. And now the last, but definitely not least, the fourth panelist that we have with us today. I'm delighted to introduce to you Keerthana. Keerthana is bringing us the community perspective. She is the Assistant Executive Director at the Association of Social Services and Community Development in Gombak District, Selangor, Malaysia, also known as PSPK. She specializes in management in policy and social environment. She initiated her journey as a volunteer with grassroots activities, focusing on the development, education, and empowerment of women and children in urban poverty communities. Keerthana is committed to creating innovative solutions for urban poor communities aligned with the UN SDGs. She is an associate member of the Malaysian Association of Social Workers and contributes as a member of the HRD Core Sectorial Training Committee for Community Development. by actively being involved in local and international initiatives, collaborating with diverse foundations and organizations. She commits to developing innovative solutions for urban poor communities, highlighting her direct involvement and passion for community development and positive change. Keerthana, I'd like to hand over to you now.
Thank you so much for having me here and the warm introduction. And I think it's really good to see all of us are coming together to share about this and also talks about sustainability. So thank you for that. And so for myself, I have been exploring about the communities, different cultures, how the community works, and now I have attached with organization called PSPK. So basically PSPK stands in Malay language, which is Perkhidmatan Sosial Pembangunan Community, meaning social service and community development. So at PSPK, I have been attached for about like 10 years now. I started as a volunteer, and through PSPK, I'm able to, get to know about other organizations and how people work in the sector of social work as well. So, and it's really a good, I wouldn't say a journey, but it's a good opportunity for us to get to know there is a lot of communities, and there is different challenges, different struggles each of the community faces. So for me, I'm more attached with the organization that's focused on the urban poor community, and here we are trying to bring solutions based on a community development model, and we are empowering social enterprise. So talking about that, we engage the community, especially the women and the children, in various sectors. And there is different pillars that we are focusing more on: community development, women empowerment, children education, and environment restoration. So it has been like, for PSPK, it has been about 18 years of establishment. And all this while, we have been seeing the progress of the women, and mainly we are also training them in baking, computer, and tailoring. These are the very basic skill training. And it doesn't stop only at skill level, but it's more about building their capacity, giving them the mentorship, and also providing them the support structure. And since after year 2020, we are also shift our focus into environment, where we are now training, giving the knowledge to our community about being a responsible person in plastic waste management. At the same time, about food waste and food security. So it's like urban farming is also one of the focus. So I'm glad I have an opportunity to explore in different skills, different focus areas, but still coming back and giving back to the community. So I think while we move further, we'll be able to share more about this. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Keerthana. Okay. So to really dig into this discussion, I wanted to go first to Katrin. Katrin, perhaps you could share with us what it means to follow a whole institution approach towards sustainability, what the foundations of that are, and why you would recommend implementing this approach in higher education.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this question. First of all, I know whole institution approach always sounds very, very complicated and challenging, but it's not rocket science. The idea of holistic and including the whole institution is not new. I think it was developed in like the 70s, starting with health education at universities. But the idea of a whole institution approach towards sustainability means not only talking about it, but including the idea of sustainability. And again, not only environmental protection, but looking into all other themes of sustainability that can also include questions of social justice, diversity, in our parts of the world, also LGBTQ, and also economic questions, to move a university in its whole, which means you would have aspects of sustainability in the curriculum, but you would also look into creating a curriculum that empowers students to actually take responsibility. Going further at the university, the question of research. What are we researching? What do we need to know? What are themes that can bring communities forward, local and globally, to move towards sustainability? And also including sustainable management into the operations, the infrastructure. Does your library actually reflect a stock that allows students to do the research on sustainability? Does your simple operations, is it recycling, reusing, those refusing, all those rather simple measures that are possible, are those in place? But also, are your events organized in a way that they reflect the themes, but are they also organized with local partners? Do they come back to the ground? And most of all, do they involve the community? I believe a whole institution approach towards sustainability, most and foremost, also means working with the community and finding the value of a university for the community, because it is wonderful to do research and bring knowledge forward, but with that we have a huge responsibility to make life of our communities better. And I think Ravi and also Keer have already given that impression, what is possible when universities and communities really come together. I hope this gives kind of a first idea. It's not rocket science, it's simple, looking towards sustainability and making sense in each aspect of the organization, whether it's a university, a school, or any other kind of organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrin. It's very interesting that you say that it's not rocket science, and I would agree with you. But I think there's so many layers to that. You mentioned, the university, the physical operation of the university. You talked about the curriculum. You talked about the outputs from research, even the student services, and ultimately, what is the value for that community where it's located. So Zainal, I'd really love to hear from you. What motivated IIUM, International Islamic University of Malaysia, to adopt the communiversity approach, which is sort of one methodology, I believe, for the one methodology of this whole university approach, and how has the university approach been instrumental in achieving your desired sustainability goals?
Okay, all right. Do I have the liberty of asking my students to answer? Just kidding, yeah. All right, Rachel, thank you so much for the question. That's a very important question that I hope if we can, from my side, whatever I say, if you can forget about others, but this one is the most important one. Yeah. We thought that for the past many years, there are many attempts of trying to find a new model, criticizing the current model of university, but still we ending up in the same cycle of whatever that we've been doing. We don't manage to get out of the same constraint challenge that goes back to very fact that it still produces the same kind of graduates that cannot meet the current challenge. So we thought that let's come up with something else that may hopefully trigger a different momentum and create a narrative that at least will try to make us think twice, that if we don't want to go back to the university, maybe we can start using a different kind of wording. So that's why we push for the word communiversity. It's a combination of community and university, which it turned out that it become easily understood, and it become quite attractive and in a way that if you speak to the non-university people, they can appreciate it faster and easier. Yeah, and we've seen that that kind of concept can immediately get attention from different sectors of the society. So what are the main components of this communiversity, and what motivates us is that apart from that that part whereby we want to suggest another word to bring us out from the, if you can say, the baggage of university model. Secondly is that we know very well after pandemic, everyone is looking for that model, and society or community is the one that we live on, while others stop, put into stop. So how do we bridge this serious work of pushing universities to community? So what motivates us secondly is that now, if we know that that community is very important part and it has to be an integral portions of the university's performance and functions, then we have to make the community presence as something that is part and parcel of the university. So because of that, then we make it an equally important components of community engagement, because we know universities functions based on the three functions: teaching, research, and community engagement. So all this while, community engagement become the secondary part, right? So there, in short, the motivations is that we need to change the perceptions on the community engagement. So the first one's for the impression of the whole university. Second one, getting into the detail of the inside of the university, following up and picking up what Katrin is saying about community, whole institutions. So that whole institution has to be triggered, has to be moved by bringing in or uplifting the role of community engagement into the functions. So I thought that's the two motivations that push us to work on community, and so far it works well because it speaks a community language. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Zainal. And what you're doing is you're prompting me to move across to Keerthana, because I see, what you were saying there about when you started speaking, you were talking about being stuck in the same circle of what was being done and breaking out of that mold and using this approach because you wanted to trigger a different narrative. And Keerthana, as one of the community partners with IIUM, with Sagittarius Center, I believe, what I'd really love to hear from you is, what benefits has your organization experienced that you contribute to this community approach, and what challenges you have faced as well?
Thank you for the questions. I think it's very important for us to it's a result of the partnership that we have with IIUM, and mainly it's about the diverse expertise that we get from the university side, giving us the knowledge, the expertise easy, and it's more about getting expertise and network sharing. So besides that, we get to get a better skilled person who understands about the community work, because for example, I would like to share example, like we have our workshop at our places, we do have entrepreneurship training for the women. So we would need trainers, we need expertise. But if, for example, it comes to about entrepreneurship, if we seek for trainer from entrepreneurship background, they do not have the community's understanding. But when we go to the universities, we get the expertise through the Sagittarius Center. They bring in the trainers who are working with the other communities. So this helps us to understand, to help to share the knowledge and bring in the expertise. So it's beneficial in that sense. And another thing, it's about a holistic approach. It's more, both the partners are focusing on sustainability. So and I think that is also a challenge, because both one is in the academic and one is in a grassroots basis. So we need to have the understanding and a mutual understanding about what we are doing and how we can integrate that into our work. And I think in that sense, we are definitely working good with IIUM. And mainly it's about the organizational development, where it helps us to bring us to another transformation where people start to look in more credibility. It brings a credibility to the organization, And through that, the communities are being visible to the eyes of other people, and it shows the impact that the women here are trying to showcase. And the last one would be like, it talks about the education for sustainable development. So for us here, we are trying to talk about SDGs. We are trying to share to the community who don't understand how UN works. They don't know about United Nations, but we are trying to talk SDGs to them. So when universities are coming in trying to bridge this, they can see that the work that we are doing here, it's not just, it's for the sake of a work, but definitely it's being a testimony for us to, for others to see that where we are bringing the impact. So that's, I would say, to answer your questions.
Thank you, Keerthana. And you constantly referred to, you constantly use a word that I like very much. You referred many times to a bridge, the bridge between the institution and the community organization. And what I think I'd like to do is turn to Ravi, because you're one of the founders of iGo Citizen, and as one of the people that was leading that project in Sri Lanka, you were a very definite link in that bridge between institution and community. And so you did mention in your intro that you had some challenges. And so perhaps you might be able to share with us, what if you were to advise me to do one of these projects, next month, what advice would you have to sort of address or avoid any of the challenges that you face? How would I overcome them or adapt them or even head them off at the pass?
Sure. As Katrin mentioned earlier in her introduction, that a lot of people don't know about SDG and SDG and anything. So when you talk about the whole institutional approach, I believe that it has to come from the top to down, because because university especially doesn't have very autonomy in Sri Lanka. And I can't compare the rest of the country because the Sri Lankan experience is different, because 30 years war and they didn't have much access to the world. And so I was once shocked when I went there. The last two education ministers, I was able to interact with them. As a mature students, I had access to them. Then both of them doesn't know about the SDG. But they are the educators. So I believe that to overcome all these things, we actually has to partners with local community organization to get the access. That's one of the easiest way to get there. And even those organizations, even they don't know, but they want to do something to their community. I don't think the Vision Global, they completely know much about the SDGs program or SDG objectives and all those. But this is the way we show up, this project can be done. Okay, and we build up a trust continuously. We did, and so this is the way we can work with them. But the only way we have to connect with local community organization and the people to get the support to approach the institutions the way in Sri Lanka the institution functioning. Thank you.
Yes, and I think the structural framework can definitely be a challenge. But listening to you, Ravi, and to you, Keerthana, it's very clear that there are, even when there are hiccups, there's a huge advantage that filling, the university, the academic partner can fill a need, can be a great supplement, can boost in areas where there is, a gap, or increase the capabilities of the partner organization. But again, thinking back to this idea of a bridge can go in both directions. So I'd like to sort of ask both Katrin and Zainal from a larger perspective and from a from an institutional perspective, is this a one-way street, or is it bi-directional? Is there something coming back from the community to the institution, from the students participating to the institution? What is happening there?
Let Katrin go.
No, go ahead, boss.
I
Supervisor first.
Some ideas to start. Get us with some framework first.
Okay, should I? Yeah. I'm just gonna jump in then. The idea of transformation, and I think you see this. We all we need a transformation. We need to shift our understanding of importance, and I do believe the work in the community changes tremendous perspectives. I think it's an extremely valuable experience for students, not only learning for the sake of learning in order to get a degree, but having an opportunity to have impact, an opportunity to connect to real life, which in some cases a community experience might have not been anything that students would have had without that particular university. On the other hand, community and communities have so much to give. There's so much to learn from communities, and the idea of localizing the SDGs, that's the other thing. Yes, people don't feel connected to the SDGs because it's far away, United Nations, and what does this really mean on Tuesday at 11 in Toronto or in Kuala Lumpur or in any other, in Manila, in any other place, any other place of the world, but making sense of those global topics in a local environment, being able to make a difference, being able to connect. You see, all of us, we all know each other. We will stick together. It's like building spider webs. It's, you know, Keer mentioned the bridges. And beyond borders, we stick together and we will connect to each other in any given moment in time when we need each other or when we have projects together. And we feel responsible for each other. And that's exactly the idea of that transformation and education and taking responsible action and making a difference, and also helping where help is needed and learning where we can learn and advance ourselves. Let me keep it at that, and then I throw the ball over to the designer.
Rachel, can you repeat the questions just so that I can put in a more contextual?
Yes, sure. So I was what I wanted to do is just sort of briefly explore. We've seen how beneficial this whole institution approach and the university approach can be for the community, for the partner organizations in the community, and also for the students participating. But assuming this is very holistic and it runs both ways. What is coming back from the community partner to the academic institution, and how is that being received and acted on?
Okay. Whether we realize or not, to me, it's a bit irony and can be seen as a bit funny as well, that we know the problem is out there and the solution is out there. And suddenly we've been living in a way that we try to figure out the solutions in the campus, in the lab, and using not a natural setup and try to figure out what is the solutions. But we know that things are out there. And what even make it more ironic is that, and we're figuring out the solutions from single disciplinary perspective, while we know the problems out there is very holistic, very interconnected. So the thing that we're trying to put on the table, try to push for, so that it become part of the process of drastic change or making the momentum, is that we know that we've been living in a way that we're giving the knowledge to the society as if that's what they want. which is not necessarily the case. So what we be telling the students and also the lecturer is that this is a co-learning process. This is a coexistence, but the co-learning is not really embraced before this. It's always the university giving that we are at the upper hand, giving solutions that we thought is a solution to the community. So now, when we do this and to make really change so that the meaning of two-ways learning is really taking place, is that it's not just only the process of like one-off process. The students would have to stay there for 14 weeks or 28 weeks, 2 semesters, so that they can really appreciate. Because if they are too short period in staying with the community, they won't really get the message. They won't really get the learning, meaning that the substantial knowledge would not be acquired from the student side. It's easy from our side because community used to have that perception. Yeah, university is very good. University have all the knowledge. Yeah, but in order to understand their solutions, they need to stay longer. And for that purpose, that's why you really have to be two-way communication, and the ecosystem has to be in support of that as well. What do I mean by that, Rachel, is that the role of community is not just receiving side, and it's not just even benefiting. I mean, the beneficiaries, they are the core players as well. So meaning is that the decision making is 50-50. The community has to be empowered because we are shifting. We say this many times, and it sounds cliche as well, that we want to move from community service to community empowerment. But process-wise, we're still being the upper hand, and community is still expecting us as they are the lower hand. So unless and until that change, I think we will not be able to really realize what does it mean by a two-way communications. So I'll stop there first, Rachel.
I love how you led us to the finish when you said that the community are the core players. The community partners are the core players. And that I agree, it's so important, that idea of 50-50 decision making. So what I would really love to do is turn back to Keerthana for a moment. And what advice would you give? So if I'm a community organization and I've been approached by my local university, they're looking to build this out, and they're interested in me as a partner. So what advice would you have for me starting out, or what advice would you have for the university? And sorry, just before you answer, Keerthana, I'm going to invite our audience to start adding some questions in the chat box, because we're going to have open the Q&A in a few moments. So please drop some questions in the chat box for them. Thank you, Keerthana.
Okay, so to answer your question, I think first of all, it's very important for us to clearly define what is our expectation when we are doing our partnership. So we used to have, and with IIM, we always have that. We have the, I think it's a safe space where we can discuss. When we decide, we can tell them what we think. So it's very important for us to clearly define our expectation. And secondly is it need to show the impact of the community. So when we are being in the partnership, you have to bring the people, the community back into the program. Showing the impact, it is very important so that you can move further, you can progress. And the third one is to build a sustainable relationship. It's not just about university and the organization, it's about the community, it's about the people. And even I can give examples, like even yesterday we had a program at IIUM, and I saw a student which is not from our community, but the students are explaining the impact that PSPK is creating within the community. So, and the student is someone who came and have a visit because we have the partnership with university. So this is something that works well, I think, in the approach that we are trying to bring in here. So it's not just about two institutions coming together, but it's about the people, it's about the community, and we have to see from where we can also contribute. I mean, not just about resource, about funding. It's more than that. It's about the expertise, about the networking, about the credibility, about the recognition and the impact that we are trying to bring. So it has to be mutual from both the side, and as Prof. Zainal said, it has to be 50-50. Even 1% less would bring a different impact. Thank you.
Thank you. That you've laid out some very clear things that I think that are helpful about being honest, clearly defining expectations, showing impact, and I like that. You know, it really resonated what you said about actually not just being a bilateral agreement, so to speak, between the university and the organization, but a very holistic pact with the whole community, part and parcel. So what I'd love to do is just ask Ravi then, as somebody who you're one of the founders of iGo Citizen, you led that pilot project. For students who might be listening or who might be at university and they're considering being a part of something like this, what do you say to them? What are the takeaways for them? What did you gain from the experience, and how is that impacting your personal and professional life, not just in terms of the project?
Yeah, my background actually engineering, computer science background, but after I involved in this, it's actually changed my perspective, and the academic level, the participation contributed to my lifelong and provided perspective on global cities and the crisis and sustainability. Eventually, as a mature student, I started my postgraduate studies in environmental studies. It is leading to my curiosity and for personal development. Actually, it's totally different where I was a few years back. 20 years, I was in a STEM sectors, and now I'm totally, I didn't quit my job, but my thinking and everything has changed. And as someone really wanted to work on this kind of thing, I really encourage them, but it takes time. It takes time, and working as a team, a lot of willpower we show, because after we awarded in April, closest to April, and we were working together as a team, we really wanted to implement this project. Then we are all about to travel to Sri Lanka. The Canadian government passed the travel restriction. We were disappointed and all those, and every our team was like, okay, what are we going to do? But we decided not to quit. So connect with the local community, as that the core players are, as mentioned here earlier, the community. Community is the core players. So connect with them, have the willpower to not to quit. Yeah, it takes time. It takes time. And you have to go through, navigate a lot of challenges and everything. Never grow it. You're going to learn and everything. I say it is an important thing. While everyone talking, I've been thinking about one thing. There was a 3 years, same kind of the Core Global Action Plan hosted by York University. There are 20 social action plan was developed, but the only plan was implemented from us. So almost the 20 group, 19 group didn't do anything. So my question is here, what's lacking there? How university ready to continuously push those teams to implement something? This also has to be asked to ourselves. But at the same time, I would say anyone interested, just work on it, never quit, work on networking and working with your local community. That's the only way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. I'm really feeling this thread. You referred to the change and perspective that you experienced, and earlier on, Zainal was talking about wanting to change the narrative, and towards the beginning, Katrin mentioned about shifting our understanding. So I think, I think that's a common theme, not only in the goals, but also what we're seeing playing out in these real life instances where these approaches are being used. We are almost at the top of the hour. I haven't seen any questions in the chat. Can I just do very quickly, if there's anyone in our audience that wants to, if anybody wants to throw out a question for the panel, please go ahead and raise your hand. And if I don't see a hand, what I'm going to do, oh, I do have one question, thank you. I'm going to invite Renchelina to go ahead and ask, please.
Hi everyone, good evening and good morning wherever you are. Yeah, I'm Renchelina, you can call me Chill. I'm with Christian and Ravi for the IGO Citizen. So my question is more of like, I actually have two, but I'll focus on the first one. I wonder if in the whole institutional approach, are the local government unit engaged aside from the, for example, the community, the school and the students? So I wonder if there's a chance or there's an effort to also engage the local community leaders or the local leaders in the locality. So yeah, that's one. And then the second question is more of like how are the students involved in the decision making in the community empowerment plan that is implemented in their communities? So I hope those are just two of my questions. So I hope I learn from Katrin and also Zainal. Thank you.
So
Okay.
I think, yeah, go ahead. Oh, good, great, go ahead.
Was it to me? Oh, I think it's to Katrin. Okay. Okay, sure. If the question is about how does students get involved in the decision making, all right. What happened is that there are three subjects that the students have to go through. The first one is introduction to sustainable development issues, principle, and practice. Yeah. So that part is just all issues and understand the many perspectives on sustainable development or unsustainable development. And they have a fieldwork, not what you call a projects, yeah. But the project is limited within the campus for them to understand and apply their knowledge on sustainable development before they go to the second semester, whereby the first task, the main task of the following semester is to profile the community. What does it mean to profile? Is that they will be doing the situational analysis of the community and try to find out what are the list of problems that the community is facing from sustainable development perspective, right? And in the same semester, based on the issues identified, based on the scanning that they do, they will be proposing several solutions to it. There's no interference from the instructor. It's only the students. 25 of them from each group will be talking among them and finding the solutions, 3 solutions, right? And then the instructor will come in, the lecturer, the teacher, the academics will come in only to help them to choose one solutions. So they will be working on that solutions, and that the semester stops there. All right, and the semester stopped by them presenting the proposed solutions to a group of jury, meaning that it's not just they themselves. Of course, they decide on what is the projects, but to help getting inputs to concretize and strengthen the proposal is the juries from outside. It will be the NGO people, it will be university people, it will also be community members as well. Meaning that it's a robust exercise of them, of their decision making, of their solutions. So once that is done, then they will come next semester, they will be doing the actual projects. So they will be carrying out and executing and implementing the project in the following semester. So that's how the whole process of how they learn about sustainable development, they practice it in the campus first, and then in the community outside, find what is the issues, propose the solution, the following semester, carry out the project, carry out the solution. So this is all the instructors is just to guide them. So that's how we hope that from that purpose is truly the process of experiential learning. So I hope that helps a bit to illustrate what is happening.
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's a very comprehensive and also student-centered approach, and I'm hoping to implement that as well in our project next time. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, Zainal, and it's lovely to hear from this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Chill, for your questions and for engaging. I'm aware that we are just right pushing the clock. So what I would just like to do is give each panelist maybe 30 seconds. What is one takeaway that you want our audience to have as they leave us today on this one takeaway on this topic of whole institution approach or communiversity approach from whatever perspective it is that you're representing here. So may I invite maybe Katrin to start us off?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say three things. I think this today's conversation has really shown that we all have purpose, that we all feel a sense of wanting to contribute. We have a sense of hope together and feel connected to one another. And I believe the projects here, iGo Citizen, and also the way USRA in Action works with partners like PSBK, really shows how individual learning and individual development can be turned into a public good, and make a huge difference in the community, but also brings a lot of responsibility to exactly keep going and not leave communities behind just because your credit point course or your course has ended. But there's a bigger responsibility in striking and keeping those relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Katrin. I think I'll turn that over now for what that one takeaway. Let's go to Ravi from the participant perspective. What's one takeaway you'd like the audience to have today? Ravi, you're on mute.
Sorry. I guess the important thing, collaboration, like reaching out everyone, like sharing the knowledge, like this kind of platform. When what we're doing will widen our knowledge and even give new ideas to implement the project and engage with communities and things. Like this is what I can say here, collaborate with each other who are already doing this and they are already connected with the SDG projects. This is, I can say that. This is my takeaway here, and I believe that as the audience takeaway too. Thank you.
Thank you. And Zainal, your
Okay.
key takeaway, please.
Two things. One, why we use communities also for the reason that we don't want this kind of community work or humanitarian work or human work out there. When the students come in, they see it is like not professional jobs, meaning that some people see that NGO, NPO, they are like not as jobs like others. We want to give an impression that is as important as other jobs as well, or other assignments or other professions. First one. Second one is that nature is the best book, society is the best teacher. So that's my takeaway.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think let's finish with the community perspective. What's that one takeaway from you, Keerthana?
From the community perspective, we would say it's about inclusivity and including all the community members regardless of the diversity. So that's the most important, because that's where the development starts, and it's about empowering the individuals within our community. And through this collaborative, it's about the synergy that we have to have the sustainable impact. And at the same time, it's about a collective sense of ownership and fostering a community that strive to new
What
Sorry.
happened?
Thank you for that. I fell off and swapped to hotspotting. Thank you to all of our audience for joining us. I'm sure that you found this as inspiring as I did. I think all of our panelists, Katrin, Keerthana, Ravi, Zainal, you've been wonderful. I wish we had 3 hours to unpack all of the amazing insights that you bring, but we're glad to have you with us for this hour, and we wish you all very well in the projects that you have underway now and that you're undertaking in the future.
Thank you.
And to everybody else, please feel free. We've got our social media up there, Professors Without Borders. Do follow along and follow our work. Thank you so much. Have everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank you,
seeing
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.